Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto Was Betrayed and Planned It All, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Chronicle was sedated, resting on the hospital bed. Sitting at his bedside was Angela, though she had fallen asleep in her chair. The other occupants were the rest of the Uzumaki clan, including Nagato, as well as Hinata and Shino. Alright, we have a few things to settle here, Naruto said. The others were tense and quiet, and had been for the past 10 minutes. Now, as much as I would love to get to the matter of the Akatsuki, I think an explanation is due. Mikasa, I want to know what happened to Chronicle. She paused before nodding and shifting in her own seat. When Ru took us away to his trusted friend, he didn't know that his friend had recently gotten too deep with some unsavory people. He owed one man in particular a lot of money. When the man came, he brought people with weapons, incendiaries, and deaths. The friend tried to plead with him, give him more time to get the money. The man wouldn't accept it. He lit the place on fire, killed the friend, his family, and even tried to kill my brother and me. While we were running, they caught up to us. One of them stabbed me with a dagger. I was lucky he didn't hit my heart, but it still caused me to collapse. Akira lost it after that. I didn't know how, but the same black armor from before formed around him. It was the same size, but it seemed to have him inside of its torso. He killed several of them, forcing those who were left to run. After that, I saw the armor pick me up. When I woke up, he was gone and I was laying on a bed in some inn, a doctor keeping an eye on me. He told me that I was found under a tree, wrapped in cloth that covered most of my body. What about that armor? Nagato asked. That didn't just appear. Do you know anything about it? Actually, yes. I was able to find a journal that belonged to our mother. What she never told us, and probably never intended to, was that she herself came from a clan. The clan was known for their abilities to use nature energy. However, unlike the rest of her clan, she was unable to use this ability. No one told her why, but after a while she was cast out, sent to live anywhere else. From what I could glean, she had eventually developed abilities similar to her clan's, though there were differences and she couldn't use it very well or for long. Another difference was that she had some form of control while using it. My guess is that Akira inherited this ability, but to a much higher degree. Mikasa said. I know the clan you're talking about. Naruto said. Jugo. He's a member of that clan, and the whole reason Orochimaru could develop the curse mark. However, I don't know where he is. Somewhere with Orochimaru. There was a pause. Would you mind me asking what you intend to do next? Mikasa asked. Naruto stood up. For now, I intend to get something to eat. There is something to eat here, right, Nagato? Yes. For now you are guests in my village, and as your host I will provide you all with places to stay as well as food and anything else you need. Within reason, of course. Later on you and I can talk more, Naruto. Nagato responded. It took a few moments, but they all started leaving the room. Roku asked Nagato to remain behind for a moment. Nagato, I would like to talk to you about your eyes. Roku said. What about them? Nagato asked. Why don't you ever deactivate them? What do you mean? Roku sighed before activating his own Rinnegan. So I'm not alone. But you can activate them at will. I do not have that luxury. Nagato said. And I can tell you why. I don't know why they are able to stay active without constantly draining your chakra, but these were not the eyes you were born with. What do you mean? Your eyes were transplanted from someone else. That is correct. A voice said from the corner. They turned to see Madara standing there. Those eyes once belonged to the real Madara Uchiha. They were stunned to hear his words. I will explain later. For now, some of the Akatsuki are about to cause trouble with the Jinchuriki. Madara disappeared as Roku and Nagato hurried after Naruto and the rest of the group. Deodara, calm down or I will kill you. For whatever reason, Pain wants us leaving him alone. Kakazu said. Screw that. I want to know what made things change so quickly. Deodara said, grabbing Naruto by the collar. Why are we leaving the Jinchuriki alone? We're supposed to be capturing them to make a weapon. I suggest you remove your hands from the Azukage, Deodara. Nagato said, walking up to them. And who the hell are you? Deodara asked. He then noticed the black rod sticking 6 inches out of Nagato's back through the holes in the back of his Akatsuki cloak. I had nearly forgotten. None of you have seen who I really am. I am Nagato Uzumaki, also known as Pain. Nagato said. What are you talking about? Kakazu asked. He then noticed Nagato's eyes. They were startled as Deva appeared next to Nagato. Through the power of the Rinnegan, I am able to control the 6 paths in 6 separate bodies. But the real center is, Deva said. Is me. Nagato said. Now, as for why we are now leaving him alone, the plan has changed. Yes, and I hope for the better of an alliance with Izu. Naruto said, straightening his shirt. I would like to have you on my side. As I have told you before Naruto, I have yet to decide on the matter. Nagato said. Could someone explain to me why we keep talking about Izu? Kakazu asked. Because, I'm its leader. Naruto said. Nagato, would you be kind enough to gather the rest of the Akatsuki for me? I would like to talk with them, and you sometime in the near future. Izu is about to make some serious moves, including one against Orochimaru, soon. The same goes for you, Madara. You really are going to need to tell me how you can detect me when I'm intangible. Madara said as he stepped around a corner. And I will. But for now, I'm still hungry. Naruto said, turning to continue walking down the hall. Break. Several hours passed before Naruto, Mikasa, and Angela decided to try waking Chronicle up. Before they had done that, they had restrained him as a precaution. It took a few moments, but Chronicle started to open his eyes. He looked up and saw Mikasa. He started struggling. You were dead. You were dead. You were dead. Chronicle yelled. Chronicle. Naruto shouted, getting the man's attention with the deeper tone he used. Calm down and listen. Mikasa has things to tell you, and now that you have some of your memory back, you can talk with her. I already know as much as I need to know about your past. You two need to talk though. Get it together and listen to what she has to say. You two have a lot of catching up to do. In a couple of days I'm having a meeting with the Akatsuki on the Fugaku. I hope you'll be there. His voice then turned soft as he looked at Mikasa and Angela. I will see you all later. For now, I have work to do. He said before disappearing in a shunshin. Chronicle slowly looked at Mikasa, there were tears in his eyes. How are you alive? I saw you die. The blade that he tried to kill me with barely missed my heart. The fact that you can't remember taking me to an inn means that the armor that formed around you was somehow acting on its own. Now I think it's time we talk about where we've been all this time. She said, undoing the straps that held him to the hospital bed. Break. Naruto finally took his own seat in the meeting room on the Fugaku. The room itself had different paintings along the walls, as well as large potted plants. The walls were painted a vibrant blue, black lines weaving around to form various patterns. When he sat down, he looked at the various faces of the Akatsuki, as well as Mei, Gaara, Madara, Chronicle, Angela, Mikasa, Itachi, and even Kisame, who was now unrestrained. So then, I think that the first matter that should be settled is you, Madara. I agree. Nagato said. Chronicle nodded agreement as well. Actually, I want to know why some of our cages are here. Sasori said, no longer in his puppet shell. We are here because this meeting will also be one of politics. Gaara said. We can discuss that later. For now, we have some important things to be settled. Mei said, gesturing to Madara. Madara pulled off his mask, laying it on the long conference table. None of them really knew who he was, other than Naruto. So I was right. Obito Uchiha. I am going to assume that the whole reason you're alive was the real Madara Uchiha. Especially considering what you told Nagato about his Rinnegan. That is correct. Obito said. I know about the mission you were supposedly killed during, but how did you survive? Naruto asked. Madara had created artificial bodies that were clones of Hashirama, he called Zetsu, and one of them retrieved me. When I woke up, I had some of the artificial body replacing my heavily damaged body. I eventually found out that Kakashi and Rin were trying to escape a group of Kiri shinobi. Obito said. He then went on to explain everything that had happened after he saw Kakashi kill Rin. He also told how he went on to convince Yahiko to form the Akatsuki. He then told how he had taken Madara's eyes and transplanted them into Nagato long before any of this. He also told how the plan was to have Nagato use the Rinnegan to revive Madara later on. So you intended to use Nagato as a pawn? Things didn't go quite as planned. Chronicle said. Yes. The only problem is that Zetsu was not quite what Madara or I thought. They were the original victims of Kaguya Otsutsuki's infinite Tsukuyomi. They have been stored in the Juubi husk, mutating over time. The entity known as Black Zetsu was created by Kaguya before she was sealed, and was able to pull the white Zetsu out of the statue, letting Madara believe they were a product of Hashirama's cells and the statue. Obito said. If you don't mind me asking, how do you know all of this about Zetsu? Chronicle asked. That would be because of me, said a voice. They all looked to see a spiraled body walking up to the table. I am Guruguru. Yes. When I was first saved by Madara, he and the original White Zetsu were my caretakers. Eventually they became my friends. Though Guruguru has opted for joining me, the other White Zetsu are still with Black Zetsu. I don't trust him, Chronicle said, not bothering to say it any other way. Nor do I trust you, Obito said. I understand not trusting him. Even I am slightly skeptical, but he has given plenty of information up till now. I think it would be best to save that conversation for later. Naruto said. For now I think it's time we get to the political nature of the situation. Nagato, you have still yet to tell me where you would stand. I would very much like to count your village and nation as a part of the Orb Union. You have still yet to explain what that is, Nagato said. Naruto chuckled before he pulled a large scroll from his robes. He undid a strap and allowed it to roll outward along the table. The scroll unraveled across the table, sealing arrays projecting themselves upward as it went. When it finally came to a stop, it had created an image of the elemental nations with all of their borders to appear over the table for all to see. This, as you can no doubt see, it the elemental nations. Now, everything in red is what we currently call the Orb Union, Naruto said, moving his hand on a part of the ceiling array. In response to his touch, a red outline appeared around a large portion of the countries that made up the map. Now, as you can tell, Kei's no Kuni and Mizu no Kuni make up a large portion of Orb. Then you have the Land of Frost and its village, Shimogakur, the Land of Hot Water and its village, Yugakur, Takagakur and some of its surrounding lands, the Land of Waves, and some patches of these lands here in between. Some of the major nations are part of Orb. Frost, Hot Water, and Canyons all joined me with their villages, seeing as how the daimyo live within their village walls, either as the leader, or with the leader. Rivers and forests took some separate negotiating with the daimyos and the leaders of their hidden villages to put together an agreement for them to join me. Takagakur joined easily after I destroyed a large portion of it. And with said village's destruction the land fell apart. It's why I have only gotten a few portions of the land to join me. The chaos there makes things difficult. Then there are the allies to Orb. The Land of Rivers and its village, Tanagakur, the Land of Forests and its village, Kasagakur, the Land of Canyons and its village, Ishigakur, are all allies, Naruto said as the seals responded to his touch again and blue outlines appeared around said locations. And then of course there's the central hub. Azu no Kuni and Azushiogakur. My home is what has held Orb together, he said, using the scroll to outline Azu in white. And you have no idea, Nagato, how difficult it was to remain off radar for so long doing all of this. Even harder to keep Orb from being known about. You should know a bit about that considering how much effort you've had to put into keeping the depth and members of your organization from being discovered. One of the things that has helped is that I have kept any of them from knowing about any of the others. They don't even know about Azu. They only know that Mizu and Suna are part of Orb and that I'm its leader and founder. Nagato was silent for a few moments. So you want Am to become part of this Orb Union? That is correct. With this, you would have access to our trade routes, better funding, and any aid you require. Granted, you could simply become an ally to the Union. There would be differences in such a case, one such being that you would not get as much of the things offered before, or that you would be treated with a different status in the politics that we use. I'm sure you get the point by now, Naruto said. And if I refuse to join or become an ally? Nagato asked. Naruto spread his arms out, showing an expression of disbelief that Nagato had asked such a question in such a way. You act as if I'm twisting your arm to go one way or another. If you decline my offer, I leave here, maybe try to recruit a few of these Akatsuki members, and I go back home on my Fugaku. I might extend trade routes later on, but that will be the end of it. Nagato couldn't see any hint of deception from what Naruto said. Allow me to sleep on it. I will bring you an answer tomorrow. Of course. Naruto said. You allowed us to be guests in your home, so I ask that you stay here on the Fugaku until then. It's not home, but we've tried to make it as close as possible. Yes, I think that would be a good opportunity to take a look at who I would be joining if I so choose to. Feel free to wander the ship if you wish. There will be some restricted areas, but other than that you will be fine to do as you please, within reason of course. Also, if you have any questions or want to know where something is or if we have such a location here, then you simply need to ask. As Naruto was walking out of the meeting room, he was stopped by Kakazu. Ah, Kakazu. I was hoping to be the one that approached the Akatsuki members, not the other way around. Naruto said, extending his hand. Kakazu didn't even look at the hand. You said you destroyed Takagakure. Naruto nodded. I am aware of your hatred for the village. It's amazing how some people will turn on the people who protect them. I felt the village needed to be destroyed for other reasons, but that was one of them. A while later I went there and took over before rebuilding it. Now I have my own people overseeing the village. Did they suffer? I believe that those who deserved to, did in fact suffer. Then you should know that being on your side just became a more likely outcome for me. Another reason you should know is that Orochimaru is on my hit list. I trust you know what kind of bounties there are on his head. Indeed, Kakazu said before pausing a moment. I will take your offer under consideration. Kakazu was about to leave when Naruto spoke up again. Can I ask why you are so obsessed with money, Kakazu? Naruto asked. He saw the man flinch and some form of sadness enter the man's eyes. Perhaps, he said, his tone quiet. Perhaps some other time. Kakazu turned and was gone seconds later. Naruto sighed and continued walking. He had other people he needed to talk to. Eventually he came to what he knew to be an art gallery on the ship. It was another one of the recreational areas to help keep the crew from becoming stir-crazy or restless. It was a large ship with plenty of room, but people still needed things to help them relax. The gallery itself had gold patterns on the walls with dark blue backgrounds. The walls themselves could be considered works of art. There were dozens of different art forms in different areas of the gallery, ranging from paintings to origami and statues to puppets. Naruto really didn't consider puppets art sometimes, but he could see why some would think so. He assumed it had something to do with why people liked statues. Some believed it helped capture form, while others simply liked to look at what could be done. He guessed it also had something to do with the mechanics that went into the puppets themselves. The gallery was oftentimes full of people who were off duty, who came to relax and contemplate the meaning behind the art, or simply to gaze at the works. As he walked around, he eventually came upon Konan, Sasori, and Deodara standing around the same area. Deodara looked about ready to blow. Then he saw Naruto. Hey, you call this art? Where are the explosions? Deodara shouted. It's a bit difficult to keep a ship together with explosions going off for people to marvel at. Besides, most people don't consider explosions art unless the circumstances are different. Naruto said. Not to mention that my version of art is something you two have no ability to comprehend at this point, that is if your actions are anything to go by. He said, looking at both Sasori and Deodara. Then what is your version of art? Konan asked. Someone who likes the art of origami. You are different in that you do not claim that one art is better than another. You asked what my true art is. True art is human mortality. This is true art because of a multitude of reasons. The first is that those who shine brightly might not last long, thus living a short life, but their memory and image lasts in a way that makes them immortal. And then there is the art that can spawn from such mortality. A man once asked me, when do you think people die? When they are stabbed through the heart with a blade? No. When they are ravaged by an incurable disease? No. When they drink a soup made from a poisonous mushroom? Exclamation mark. No. So I asked when people died. He said, it's when they are forgotten. The beauty of any art always sprouts from the human mind, but if we were immortal we would most likely not be so worried about making the beauty that we forge in our art. It would eventually lose its taste. We would all be focused on other things. It is from our mortality that all beauty spawns. Whether it be these paintings, Sasori's puppets, or even music. Naruto said, pulling a small instrument from his robes. This is a chuchibu, or earthen flute, also called an ocarina. he said before bringing it to his lips and playing a soft, yet strong, melody that not only lasted a minute, but then echoed through the room. When he finished, he put the flute away. The notes fade quickly, but such a tune, or even its echo, can stay with someone forever. Perfect art is brought on by the perfect imperfection that is mortality, he said as the echoing tune finally faded. The three were stunned by his words. And here I stand babbling on. The biggest reason I'm here is not to discuss philosophy with the three of you. I'm here because I want to know if any of you would like to join should your leader say no to my offer. There was a long pause. If Nagato says no, I have no intention of leaving his side. Conan said. I respect your loyalty to your friend. To be honest, if you will leave his side at the drop of my offer, I would probably have killed you anyways. You should know why, Naruto said. Conan was slightly disturbed by his words but nodded anyways. She could understand. What about you two? The only reason you're with the Akatsuki is because you're criminals, Naruto said to the two artists. Well, I always have wanted to test myself against the old fence-sitter, Deodara said. Something tells me the stubborn fool will find some way to be against you. You can count me in for the time being. It will be at the prime opportunity to obtain more puppets. If our leader refuses, I would not object to joining you, Sasori said. And what about afterwards? What will you two do when I'm done? Azu, my man, I'll destroy that bridge when I get to it, Deodara said before walking away. While his way of putting it is blunt, I can say the same. What I intend to do afterwards has yet to be seen. That will depend on what I think of you and what you are creating. You have plenty of potential to be the perfect puppet should you fall in combat. We shall see, Sasori said before leaving as well. Conan was still standing there. I want to ask you a question. Ask away, Naruto said. What if Nagato were to stand in your way during all of this, were he to refuse and then become an obstacle? The answer is simple. I don't like it, but if he stands in the way of what I'm going to do, I will have no choice but to remove him. Whether or not that requires ending his life or not will be up to him should such a thing come to pass. Noan nodded, understanding completely. Naruto turned to leave. As he walked away, he spoke over his shoulder. You are a good person. I admire and respect your loyalty. Should Nagato or you or both ever come to blows with me, I will try everything I can to make sure that such a grim ending doesn't come to pass. Break. Naruto stood with Fu next to one of arenas on the large ship, watching Chronicle sparring against Yagura. They had been sparring for nearly half an hour and both were starting to lose steam. Naruto had been forced to use seals to set up a barrier after they started going all out, using techniques such as electromagnetic murder and tearing torrent. In a split moment, Yagura had sprouted a red chakra tail to slam Chronicle into a nearby tree. Not so easy to take me down when I'm not under a genjutsu, Yagura said, a small smirk on his face. I wouldn't have lost if you had stuck to the rules, Chronicle said. You said you wouldn't use your Bayou chakra. Yagura walked over and offered his hand to help him up. Chronicle took it as Naruto and Fu walked over. Almost makes me wonder how the fight would have turned out if Chronicle had used that armor of his. How goes the progress on that? Naruto asked, offering the two a couple of water canteens. Non-existent, Chronicle said, taking one of the canteens. Every time I try to access it, I start to lose control. It's all I can do to shut it down once I've started. Sounds like when a Jinchuriki tries to practice controlling their Bijuu's chakra, Yagura said before taking a drink. I wonder if learning to control it will require similar training. It wouldn't surprise me, Naruto said. Fu discovered something recently that was not entirely relevant until now. Ever wonder where some of the Bayou have been all this time? Shukaku, Isabu, Son Goku, Gyuki, and Kurama have been held by villages for a very long time. However, Matatabi, Kokuo, Seiken, and Chomei have only recently come into the position of some of the villages. Tell them what you told me, he said, gesturing to Fu. Yes, Fu said. Chomei has let me in on the fact that they were once held by 4 clans that worked together to build the strength and durability of their bodies by extracting and resealing the Bayou repeatedly. They also used the Bayou chakra to expedite the growth of their children before they were even born. Over time, these clans merged into one clan known as the Shizen clan, or Nature clan. The clan had developed a link to nature energy that sometimes caused rampages when it went out of control. Out of fear, the clan had been attacked to the point of near extinction. One thing that allowed him to survive is that every few generations emerged a member of the clan that even they feared. The member would be born with a lack of ability for natural energy. However, they would eventually develop a much stronger and darker version of their abilities. These people were ostracized when not needed due to fear of their power. Eventually the practice emerged to cast them out before their abilities emerged. Anyways, one of the villages that helped with fighting the clan was Taki. Eventually they were able to get a hold of Chome. The same can go for the other villages and their second Bayu. Makes sense. Trying to use Bayu chakra without training causes you to lose control. The same can be said about that clan and their abilities. Yagura said. Naruto, the meeting is about to start again. Shino said, appearing beside them in a shunshin. Thank you Shino. Alright, let's go. Break. Naruto stood on top of the end of the main cannon of the Fugaku. He was calm, and was neither angry nor happy. Nagato had said that for now he would refuse Naruto's offer to join or ally himself with Orb, but he was open to trade routes being set up between Am and any nation of Orb. He was also fine with the situation of most Akatsuki members handing in their cloaks and joining Naruto. It did unsettle him somewhat that most of their members had left, but he still had Konan and the actual organization that handled everything. Naruto had told Nagato how he still respected the man and had changed his robe to show it. Nagato had asked him why he had changed his robe the way he did. Naruto had simply responded that he still considered himself Am's ally, and that should they need him he would be there. Everyone tried to say that he was being overly dramatic, but after some arguing and debate they had settled on sentimental. The changes in Naruto's cloak had shocked some of them. The outline of the Uzumaki crest that rested between his shoulders was now a bright red while it was filled with a vibrant blue. The lettering for Shodai Mizukage still went down his back, but the colors were divided down the middle. The reason for this was because the right side of the cloak was white with the right half of the lettering being black, while the left side of the cloak was black with white left half of the lettering being white. On the white side there were orange flame motifs along the bottom and side edges of the cloak with a black outline to the tongues of flame. The black side had a lone red cloud with a white outline near the bottom, just above where the flam motifs would have been. It had shocked Nagato that, even without Am being part of Orb, Naruto would still bear the symbol of the Akatsuki and of Am's endured suffering. Once everything had finally been explained to him, Kisame had decided to join Naruto along with Itachi. Itachi had noted that Kisame's loyalty to him had surprised even him. Madara had decided to return once he had found a place to hide the statue of the outer path somewhere away from Black Zetsu. He had said that once it was done he would help both Am and Azu, though he would be making Azu his home. Naruto finally took a moment to breathe in the air. He thought about what he was about to do, about the chaos he was about to unleash. He knew that many had already seen the Fugaku, so it was already too late to cancel. Oh well, what better way to announce yourself to the world than with one massive explosion? Deodara is right on that point. Nothing catches the eye better than that. He drew in a deep, calming breath and released it. Fire the main cannon, Naruto said. Break. Zetsu moved through a wall and looked at the extensive hallway that expanded to either side. Damn that Obito. Now we have no pawn, no Rinnegan, and no statue. Black Zetsu said. But we can still get Orochimaru to help us with the right incentive. White Zetsu said. Before either of them could do more there was a large explosion as the entire hideout shook violently. What was that? Break. What the hell is going on? Orochimaru yelled. Sir, you might want to take a look at this. One of the Oto shinobi said. Orochimaru walked over to a small screen that displayed a massive fortress outside of his hideout. Where did that come from? Orochimaru demanded. Sir, we are getting reports that the fortress is mobile and getting closer. One of them said before the image flashed as the fortress fired again. A moment later the entire base shook again. Sir, they're in the base, another voice said from a doorway before the newcomer was cut down. Behind him stood a blonde man in a black and white cloak. Just who do you think you are? Orochimaru demanded. I am Naruto Uzumaki. Itachi, please restrain him. Naruto said. Orochimaru tried to create a mud cone to get away, but before he could Itachi appeared and used Orochimaru's surprise to trap him within the Tsukuyomi. Orochimaru fell face first onto the ground. Anko, would you like the honor? Naruto said. Anko walked up behind him before taking a piece of paper out of Naruto's hands and walking up to Orochimaru's prone form. She placed it on him and channeled chakra into the pre-written seal. Instantly the man was writhing in pain before his motion and life stopped. That was anticlimactic, Anko said. I expected more. Yeah, so did I. Now, we still have some rats to take care of. Come on, let's finish this up so that we can seize Oto without much trouble. Break. Naruto stood in one of the large rooms on the Fugaku, Roku standing in front of him. So, is it finally that time? Naruto asked. Yes, I helped you secure Oto, but now it's time for me to pass on my last gift. Roku said. You never did tell me how you did it. Naruto said. You'll know soon enough. So that's how you're going to do it. Yes, Roku said, walking up to Naruto. You gave me hope for this world. Thank you. A lone tear fell down his face. Goodbye Naruto. Break. Tsunade, we have a problem. Jiraiya said. They were all in a council meeting, Sasuke sitting in one of the chairs. Jiraiya had set up a projector and screen that was now showing some of the images his network had been able to collect. What is that? Danzo asked, looking at the massive fortress moving across the ground. That is a mobile fortress that bears the title Fugaku. It is also a ship. We haven't been able to gather many details about it other than the fact that it attacked what we later identified as one of Orochimaru's hideouts. It had been cleaned out and mostly destroyed when my network got there to check it out. Not only that, but they were discovered and chased away. They did, however, collect a valuable piece of information. Jiraiya said, pulling up an image of Naruto standing on the main cannon. From this angle they could only see his face and the black cloak with a red cloud on it. Are you telling me that Naruto has joined the Akatsuki? I thought that the goal was to extract the Beiyu, not recruit their containers. Tsunade said. That's what I thought. Jiraiya said. But I think we can all tell that things have just changed. We still don't know where he's been hiding or what he can do right now. What we do know is that he is a threat, now more than ever. He said before flashing to another image of Naruto looking directly at them through the photo, a smirk on his face. He knew they were there the whole time. He wanted them to see this. Sasuke said. Danzo was working out in his mind how he was going to deal with this. It could be a problem for them all. And that's not the only problem. Jiraiya said. You're talking about Suna and all those others, aren't you? Tsunade said. Yes. As of now, Suna, Wave, and Kiri have voided all trade agreements and treaties. There was silence. Break. Kabuto was trying to run, his left arm hanging limply. His entire body was covered in cuts and gashes. He had seen Orochimaru fall to Itachi's genjutsu and had run, though not unscathed. He then fell over as he lost consciousness. Are you sure about this? White Zetsu asked. We don't have much choice. He can still be forged into a good pawn. Come on, let's take him. Black Zetsu said before they grabbed Kabuto and disappeared. Break. Naruto sat down at the restaurant with Hinata sitting next to him. Now that everything was done with Orochimaru and the Akatsuki, they were taking the time to relax like they had talked about before. Naruto had been able to quickly take over Oto and all of the subsidiary bases before having the Azu 5 keep in charge of it while he was gone. Sakan and Akon had found something that they wanted him to take a look at, but Naruto had told them that I would need to wait for now. Hinata had told Naruto to order for them while she was in the restroom. Not long after she came back and then their food came. They both ate, talked, and laughed for the next hour, Hinata spending some of the time with her head on Naruto's shoulder, before they paid the bill and left. The walk down the streets of Konoha, genjutsu hiding the true faces. Naruto had a slight blush as Hinata latched onto his arm. They continued walking in silence for a while before coming to stand on top of the Yondaim's head on the Hokage monument. They stood there for a moment before sitting down, Hinata leaning against Naruto as he put an arm around her. Phase 4 starts soon. All that's left is the Jinchuriki. Hinata said. I know. If this doesn't work, things are going to be more difficult than anticipated. But I have faith in you, Hinata. Thank you. Break. Naruto had been walking down the road with Kakazu for most of the day before they had decided to set up camp. The three were traveling to recruit the Jinchuriki, the rest of their team set to rendezvous with them outside of Iwa once they had found and attempted to recruit Utakata. They had been there for a while, eating some of the rabbit and fish that Naruto had sent a couple of clones to hunt. As they sat there, Naruto had decided to ask his question again. Kakazu, perhaps you could answer my question now. The about your feelings towards money. He said. Kakazu sighed. I guess I should go ahead and get it over with. After I left Taki, I mostly worked on bounties. However, I eventually had a wife. I was working for a lord of a small country west of Iwa. A deal went sideways when I couldn't deliver my side of the bargain. I was still decent to some degree back then and tried to give the money back. He had agreed, sent men to meet me at my home and pick up the money. When one of the men grabbed the money, another said that their lord didn't tolerate failure. They surrounded me and tried to kill me. Long story short, my wife died in the crossfire and I was the only one standing. My home was destroyed, the only one I had left, my wife, dead, and everything around me was dead. All that was left was the money. I learned that money was the only thing that lasts, the only thing you can depend on. Needless to say, I slaughtered the lord of the country and everyone in his home. Then I simply left. Naruto was silent for a while. And what happens when you eventually do die? Then all my money will be left. Like I said, it's all that lasts. And what happens? It were burned. Money won't last through a fire. Gold will. Gold can be destroyed. I can keep this up all night, Kakazu. Your wife died. I can understand. Pain had to have consumed you that you were all alone like that, but it doesn't mean that what was left was all that was dependable. Kakazu looked at him a moment before standing up and walking over to his tent. I'll leave first watch to you, he said before ducking into his tent. Naruto sighed before standing up and jumping into a nearby tree. Break. The two were leaping through the trees of Mizu no Kuni, heading towards the location Naruto's spies had given them. It was where they would find Utakata. Naruto stopped instantly and Kakazu did the same. Right where Naruto's head would have been had he kept going was a massive, black, three-bladed scythe embedded in the tree. The scythe was quickly pulled back into its owner's hand via the cable at the end of the long handle. They looked at two people standing on the ground near them. One was tall with a muscular build, large eyes, and messy black hair. He wore a large black cloak with a large, red and black collar, red and black petals leafing out from the collar, and metal adornments down the front of the cloak. His fingers were long, as were his sharp fingernails. There were red, vein line markings up his left arm. He also had a black, three-bladed scythe in his right hand. The second man was younger and had an average build, dark orange hair, and black eyes. He wore a white undershirt, a purple dress shirt that he left open, brown shoes, purple pants, and a plain silver bracelet on his right wrist. He had his own black scythe, though it only had two blades, on his back, wielding instead his blood-red katana. So these are the people Hidden warned me about. Those who wield blades of black and blood-red. The elites of his cult. Kakazu said. Who? Naruto asked. Remember the report on Hidden? He was part of a cult that cast him out because he had no restraint, though they allowed him to remain an official member regardless. He was once part of the 8 elites before Roku killed him. The rest of the 8 were the only people Hidden ever showed any hint of fear towards. Not even Pain was able to get that from him. So you know about the one who killed Hidden. Tell us where he is. The bored-sounding younger man asked. You're talking about Roku. You can't see him. Naruto said. Come on. Let's just kill them for our art. The insane-sounding, larger man said. I want to as well, but we need him to tell us where this Roku is. The smaller one said. Like I said, that is impossible. Naruto said. Why is that? Because he's dead. Naruto said. That's not possible. We just sensed his chakra. The insane one said. How do you know what his chakra feels like? Naruto asked. We've been monitoring him for a while now and even had a run-in with him some time ago. The bored one said. Now we just sensed him. Where is he? Naruto knew that they wouldn't believe him if he told them the full truth. Fine. We just split up with him. He said he needed to head towards the land of fire for something important. Thank you. Now, at least one of you are going to need to die or Bluebeard here will never shut up about it. By the way, I don't like killing people without them knowing my name. I am Ryunosuke. Now which one should we kill? Let's kill the one with the mask. Bluebeard said. Kakazu quickly pulled up his sleeve before several tendrils shot out from one of the stitched areas of his arm. They quickly impaled Bluebeard in several locations. He looked at them quizzically before using his scythe to slash at them. Kakazu recalled them before any damage could be done. So they are just like Hidden. I suggest we try to finish this quickly, Naruto. Kakazu said. Agreed, Naruto said before charging a Rasengan in his hand. Try to tire them out and restrain them. I'll see if I can then use a seal to destroy them. Right. Naruto quickly charged at Ryunosuke and embedded his Rasengan in the man's chest. It tore away part of the man's shirt and destroyed part of the man's flesh. The man let out a small scream before smirking. Naruto was surprised to see the wound almost instantly seal itself shut. The man quickly made to slash at Naruto with his sword. Naruto was able to dodge before drawing his own sword. He quickly rushed in and severed the man's arm. Naruto was able to tell that the pain was real. Naruto watched and saw that his arm didn't regenerate. So when a limb is cut off it doesn't regrow, and the wound doesn't simply heal. It's like it's waiting for the limb to be reattached. Naruto said, "Now I suggest you leave. While you still can." "What are you talking about? Your arm's been cut off." "Just a scratch." "No it's not. Your arm is on the ground." "Yeah, so what? That just makes things so much more fun," he said before rushing in and slashing at Naruto in rapid succession. Naruto blocked and dodged before cutting off the man's other arm. "Now both your arms are gone. Leave now and I'll let you take your arms with you," Naruto said. "Ooh. Had enough eh? Look you stupid bastard. You've got no arms left. Just a flesh wound," the man said before running and kicking at Naruto. Naruto quickly severed one of the man's legs, leaving him to balance on one. "I'll gut you for that." "What?" Naruto said, nearly laughing at how comical this was becoming. "What are you going to do? Bleed on me? I'm invincible," the man said before hopping at Naruto, trying to hit him with his head. "You're a loony," Naruto said before he chuckled. He cut the man's other leg off and left the man lying on his back. It was apparent that the only thing scary about this man was his immortality. Then Kakazu landed next to him. "Naruto, we should leave," Kakazu said. Naruto noticed 3 of Kakazu's masks standing in the trees above them. "The other one managed to get some of my blood and destroy one of my hearts. I managed to sever one of the man's arms and part of his head, but it wasn't enough." A large fireball then ripped through the trees as Naruto and Kakazu were forced to dodge. "I agree. We should leave. I didn't expect this," Naruto said before he grabbed Kakazu's shoulder. Kakazu's masks went into his back before they both disappeared in a shunshin. Bluebeard walked out of the trees, a large portion of his head missing. "Oh you let them get away Ryunosuke. Shut up Bluebeard and get my arms for me. Then go find your arm and the rest of your head. We should go tell Okiai what happened," Ryunosuke said as Bluebeard put one of his arms next to where it should go. A moment later it was starting to merge into the socket it had been severed from. "Thanks. No problem. But next time, we kill them both. Now we need to make up for lost bodies. I remember a small town on the way here." Break. Naruto and Kakazu had taken longer than expected in recruiting Utakata. It had involved defeating a group of people who were after the Kinjutsu on his now student's back. Once the process was done Utakata had joined them readily on the stipulation that he be allowed to bring Hotaru with him. The 4 were now walking towards the rendezvous location for the rest of their team. It only took a few minutes for them to meet up with Hinata, Deidara, Sasori, Shino, Yagura, and Fu. "You never did tell me why we were bringing so many with us," Sasori said from within his cloaked Hirako. "We're going into Iwa. I doubt they will be as hospitable to us as Mizu was. That's why we are all cloaked as well. We want to draw as little attention as possible to us. That especially goes for some missing nin and a man that looks too much like his father for his own good," Naruto said. Looking like his father had some drawbacks. After a day they had encountered shinobi who had confronted him about their presence, but none who had started any fights. That changed when they approached the 2 Jinchuriki who were sparing when the group had found them. The 2 also had a 3-man squad of Anbu watching them. The moment they entered the clearing the Jinchuriki turned to look at them and the Anbu were in front of them with weapons drawn. "Greetings. I have something I want to discuss with the Jinchuriki, Han and Roshi. You Anbu might want to stand down and not draw attention to this area," Naruto said. "And why is that?" one of the Anbu asked. Naruto decided that it was time. He pulled back his hood. One of them gasped, one of them backed up a step, and the third fell backwards and started trying to crawl away. The rest of the team followed suit. "You are dealing with 4 Jinchuriki, a cage, and some of the most dangerous shinobi currently alive. Now I'm going to ask you not to panic. Restrain them. Naruto said. Sasori instantly had a puppet hold one of them while Kakazu used his Earth Grudge fear to restrain the other two. Sasori used a small burst of gas to knock him out. Han and Roshi were on guard and about to attack when Naruto held up both of his hands in defense. They were all about to run and report us as intruders. I would prefer not to fight my way out of your country. Like I said before, I want to talk to you too. Besides, they're only knocked out. Now, I will introduce myself. I am Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. I have an offer for you too. Han relaxed, if only slightly. What offer would that be? I want you to come with me back to my home. I already have 5 of the 9 on my side if you count me. One of them, as you know, is the Kazekage. Utakata here is 6, Fu is 7, and Yagura is 3. Why are you gathering the rest of them? Roshi asked, still on guard. Because they aren't exactly treated like royalty. I do want them to fight by me later on, but I would also like to show them my own home. And what home is that? Han asked. Azushiogakur. That's not possible. Han said. Yes it is. Surely you've read the reports about that massive mobile fortress destroying a base that belonged to Orochimaru. Where do you think that came from? You know for a fact that Iwa doesn't have resources like that. Konoha is trying to figure out why some of their largest allies have left them. And what if we were to join you? Then you would accompany me to Kumo where I will try to recruit the 2 Jinchuriki living there. Regardless of whether or not you two or they decide to join me, I will then return to Izu to prepare some things. After that I simply hope you don't get caught in the crossfire. Crossfire of what? Roshi asked. The fastest war you've ever seen. Deodara, who was now leaning against a tree, said. What are you talking about? Roshi asked. He's talking about the fact that Konoha won't be standing for long. Naruto said. But, I can't just tell you everything. Come with me and I'll tell you, stay and I leave. It's that simple. When the dust settles, no matter what side you stood on, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you're allowed to live a normal life if that is what you so desire. As a matter of fact, I will do so right now if you want. Of course, that is only if you don't make me kill you. You both possess immense power. I will try not to, but if you force my hand I can make no guarantees that you won't die. After a few moments Han stepped forward. I'll go with you. What? Roshi asked. He's promising us what we have both always wanted. The opportunity at a normal life. Who better to hear such an offer from than another Jinchuriki? I'll accept such an offer. Roshi sighed. Well, I can't choose that. As much as these people despise us, some of them respect and care for us. This is my home. I have fought to protect it for far too long. All right, Naruto said. It is time for us to go. Han, you might want to put this on. He said, tossing the man a large black cloak. A moment later they were about leave when Roshi called after them. I'll try to buy you time for now, Han. But I will need to tell them the truth soon. Not to mention that these Anbu will be waking up soon. Get as far as you can. Han nodded and went back over to shake Roshi's hand. Hopefully we will meet again. Roshi nodded. As the group was leaving, Naruto turned around for a brief moment. You said you were unwilling to go because this place was your home. I once thought the same before Konoha betrayed me. Be careful, Naruto said before he was gone. As they were leaving through the trees, Naruto got next to Han. How are you feeling? Naruto asked. Apart from missions I have never left Iwa. I am keen on seeing Izu. I have never actually seen it before. I'm interested, Han said. Well, as soon as we're done in Kumo we will be returning there. You don't have long to wait. Break. Naruto was once again standing on the Fugaku, 5 of the Jinchuriki standing next to him. Yugito had agreed with some convincing, but Killer Bee had decided to stay because of his brother. However, due to the guard watching Bee they had been pursued. They had been forced to reveal that they were mostly Jinchuriki to get the pursuers to back off. Naruto knew that it wouldn't matter. They were going to reveal Izu soon enough. That was the whole point. The Fugaku started approaching Izu as Han, Utakata, and Yugito walked to the edge of the deck. They looked out at the island as Naruto took off his cloak and pulled up his shirt. He applied chakra to the seal on his ribs. A moment later a dome over the island gave an audible crack before it shattered. Each piece dissipated quickly. The barrier is now down. And it will stay that way. Izu is now ready to reveal itself. It's time to go into Phase 4. Naruto said. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.